Alright, so I'm currently trying to platinum every single type of EA game that there is out there, and if I can't do it before the channel hits 1 million subscribers, then my punishment is I have to platinum Fortnite, one of the longest, hardest, and most grindy games of all time. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Anyways, today I chose to platinum F1 25, the newest F1 game in the series, and also the only F1 game I have ever played. I also have not seen the F1 movie yet, despite it being super good, and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. But anyways, F1 25 has 47 trophies, including the platinum trophy. It takes about 40 hours to complete, has a few missables, playthroughs, and grindy trophies inside of it as well. And for some more lore before we do begin, I have no idea what F1 really is. I've only ever heard the memes about that one dude who wins a lot, and occasionally I watched like 4 minutes of races on my TV when I walked by it when it was set to Sports Center in the middle of the day. Oh yeah, also I think it means Formula 1, whatever the fuck that is. So with that all said, kicking off the grind today, I began with Stage 1, Breaking Point 3, or Story Mode. This is apparently a continuation of previous F1 game stories, but summed up real fast, it's just a very linear story where you control the F1 team named Connor Sports in the Story Mode, and you have 2 drivers below you named Aiden and Callie, who you get to choose to play as on numerous occasions in races, and the first time you do pick between them, you also do get a trophy. Now when you do play as either of them, it typically drops you into a situation within a race, and it's usually not always a full race that you have to complete. You also get halted most times pretty suddenly as you are playing whenever you accomplish the objective given to you within the race, and then the plot takes over. But inside of the story mode, not a lot of trophies are really gotten, and there isn't any missables or even side trophies to honestly go for. The next trophy I did get, however, was called Prepare to Drive from just winning my first race of the game, and I obviously did that during the first event I got thrown into, so here's that trophy. But then you just play the chapters out in the story mode. There's a total of 15 chapters in the game. It takes about 5-ish hours to finish the entire storyline with that length of chapters, but along the way a few important things did happen, and you also go through more than one season of racing. Basically, the owner of Butler Global, who is the main sponsor of Connor Sports, dies, who also just happened to be Callie and Aiden's father. Shout out to all the industry plants out there. But this causes a lot of issues within the team as they try to win against the absolute behemoths of the scene, who are absolutely shredding us the entire time. But aside from that plot, the story mode is pretty much just doing races over and over like any racing game is. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I sort of didn't enjoy the F1 game's racing mechanics as much as other racing games I have played, mostly because I had no clue how to alter any settings, so I was playing this type of auto driving and it got boring so fast. Apparently you can turn this off though from what I've seen, but this game has so many settings I couldn't find it. And that kind of blows, since this makes the game basically just a drive forward and turn occasionally simulator. Dead ass feeling like I'm in a Waymo right now, but we never crashed into a pregnant lady with twins.
What did he say?
Regardless though of this somewhat boring content that is Breaking Point 3 F1 25 style, I did still get a trophy from completing Chapter 3 and then Chapter 11 actually of the story, which brought us near the ending of it. Now before the next trophy, my game also did completely crash my entire PS5. And I even went so far as to look up what was happening on Reddit, a horrible place, because I had never seen a game quite literally nuke my console after playing over 300 titles on it. So I had to completely reset my PS5, and thankfully it was fine by the graces of God, no clue how. But once I was back at it playing again, I got another trophy, and it was just completing 10 races, which also did pop right before the finale of this game's story. The finale, by the way, went exactly as you would expect a racing game's ending to go. You and absolutely everybody on your team win, and it's a happily ever after. Aside from these very ominous as interviews getting thrown in all the time. But here's that trophy after finishing Chapter 15 and being done with the story. I don't really have any complaints for it, it was just kind of bland. I do also think that me playing a ton of racing games recently is sort of making me lose interest in these, but it's alright. So moving on to Stage 2 now, this is when the game's trophies actually got quite complex and tediously annoying to complete, but they are all inside of My Team. And this is one of the 2 versions you can play in the sort of simulation type mode that is inside of F1 25, with the other being called My Driver. And also that is Stage 3 of the trophies just for reference. But these modes function a lot like any other EA Sports simulator mode does, and after playing through some of their football games, you really can see a crossover between them, considering every sport game is made under a similar methodology and mindset at EA. I do think, however, that F1 25 sim modes are a bit more simple compared to those of the football series, just due to there not being a ton of players to manage and you're really only paying attention to the car and the drivers for the most part. However, even with this very simple aspect, I still managed to butcher the ever-living shit out of my start here, and I failed miserably. This stage took me absolutely forever to get done with, and I was basically confused the entire time. I did get one easy trophy, however, from just setting up my team, and I also chose like the worst setup that made 0 sense to use, but I had no clue what I was doing. Don't judge me. And before the pain and agony did begin, I also got a trophy from just placing a decal on my car. But then I did begin the grind of the trophies. And the first real trophy you need to grind after in my team is actually just kind of all of them, which is why it's so confusing if you couldn't tell. Nearly every trophy is a grind of sorts, and it requires actions to be done and progress to be made every single week of the season. And I did choose to play a full season, which I think you have to, but I also had no reason as to choosing this. I'm also unsure if shorter seasons affect the amount of XP gain or not on these trophy giving actions you need to complete. They probably can still be gotten in shorter seasons, but I honestly don't know. And the first of these many grind trophies I did get though was actually just called First Steps, conveniently enough, and it's from securing your first accolade in my team. Now there's quite a few of these accolades, but pretty much all of them raise naturally as you play through it, so the trophy is going to be gotten regardless. I then got a trophy called Research, Develop, Assemble from getting a developed part on one of your cars. Now this is again a natural trophy that would be gotten because the entire point of my team is to make your car the best, to have it perform, well, the best, since we are running the team. But the trophy required us to research a part and then develop it, which are actually two different stages in the ladder of workforce. Both of them are very simple though, and just require you to start them with some money thrown into the fire, then wait time in game for them to be finished. The parts unfortunately do tend to fail often, which is very annoying, but you can fail over and over and still be fine in the game, and ain't that life, baby. Anyways, here's that trophy once I did ultimately do what it said. My next trophy was another easy one here from just completing an owner's training course. This is one of the many activities you can schedule to be finished as you pass time, and they are all natural on top of the other things happening at home base, but you do have to achieve these skill points to unlock the owner training because they give big boosts to the overall running of the team. However, just doing one gives you a trophy and not the entire subsection, which saves us a lot of time and effort. Now, speaking of activities, like I just mentioned one of them with the owner, if you finish 25 overall, you get another trophy from that. And this is surprisingly easy considering you can plan out like 10 at a time on the activity planner across all the different areas of the team. So here's that trophy as well. And about 30 minutes after that, I got a trophy called Feeling Special. If they mean the retarded way, then I've been feeling like that for years and they're late. And this is actually just from spending 7 skill points in the owner training of the game, which as I said unlocked big upgrades for the team. Here's that trophy. Now I should also mention that as I am going through the trophies I got, most of them seem easy, but as I was doing these I was also grinding out the hard ones in my team, particularly the trophies called Brand Loyalty, Brand Buddy, All Systems Go, and I was also looking out for all the missables that are in this stage because this stage is actually the only one where they come from, unfortunately. And to combat those, I did start to back up my save if you're wondering. Anyways, my next 2 trophies were then both simple throwaway trophies. I also don't believe that the first one from completing 25 races is even a part of this stage, but I got it doing exactly as it says. And inside of my team, I was also racing for the drivers and not simming, by the way, because I simply didn't trust them to win, since they definitely would not have. Anyways, the other easy trophy was just from entering endgame talks with a driver, and this sounds complex, but it's actually naturally gotten in the process of how the season moves on as you play. The next trophy I tried to get was in one of those missable ones called Lucrative Alliance, and the method the trophy guide says is just wrong. I'm gonna be straight up. Either that or it's extremely buggy as it's labeled, because I tried to do the method it said of picking the offer which says more favorable contract, and then you just wait for them to decline it, and apparently signing normally after that gives you the trophy, which is just wrong and does not work at all. But it did still give me a different trophy just from securing a new contract, so yeah, that wasn't meant to happen. And before I did try that again, I just kept on playing. I did have a backup save, but it had been a while since I backed it up, so I kind of screwed that up. But the next trophy I did get was just from getting 25 podiums. Again, very simple, just place top 3 for the podium, and the trophy is yours. I also reached maximum sentiment after that, which I low-key thought wasn't going to happen in this run due to my setup I had for it starting off. When I did select my team, like I said earlier, I chose a very good one with a very high performance car, and this is typically a trophy that is gotten when you do the opposite, because sentiment is fan level and love towards the team, and if you have a absolutely dog shit car that wins all the time, the fans love it. But I guess since I still dominated every race, they love me anyways, and I still landed at maximum support and the trophy from that. I then won the Drivers' Championship, which you just got from getting enough points so nobody can catch up to you in the rankings, automatically yielding you the MVP, and I actually got this a few weeks before the final event even occurred because we are simply built like that. My next trophy was then finally one I've been grinding after for my entire time here, called Brand Buddy. Reach maximum loyalty with a secondary sponsor, one of the more dumb trophies of the game. And the only way to even raise it is just throw like 60 decals of a second sponsor on your car and then win over and over and over for the entire season until the game decides that it's maxed out. There isn't a stat sheet, a tracker, anything, just wait and play. I deeply despise trophies like this. They are one of the reasons I have mental illnesses now. Anyways, moving on, I then just won another race, but it was a part of the Constructors Championship, and there's a trophy from doing this. But the trophy can actually be gotten in quite a few modes of the game. I just so happen to get it done here first, and here's the trophy pop. Now winning that also allowed me to reach a fan rating of 5 due to, again, my absolute dominance of the sport, feeling like Max Verstappen the way I torture everyone in the game they love. At one point, the commentators even called it boring. God forbid a motherfucker succeed, I swear to God. Anyways, I ended up getting a missable trophy after called Signature Success, which is actually the same one as that sponsor counter offer trophy from earlier, but just with a driver this time. And I actually sent out quite a few counter offers to drivers with the highest likelihood of them accepting it. One of them did, and then I got the trophy. RNG is my daddy right now. I will get on my knees. Anyways, moving on. The next trophy I got was just from completing the season in my team, and I did do a full one, which is also what the trophy is for. So it seems like you do need to play a full season regardless, I think, and here it is. But I was still missing 4 trophies from this stage, being Sponsor Sleuth, Brand Loyalty, All Systems Go, and Lucrative Alliance. The first 3 aren't horrible, especially with Sponsor Sleuth being to just discover 5 secondary sponsors, which occasionally pop up in activities that you have to schedule. And Brand Loyalty also wasn't that bad, and I got it pretty fast from just winning races and also taking my main brand's side a few more times in like dialogue, so here's that. And even the third one wasn't horrible, All Systems Go. It's gotten from just upgrading a facility to phase 4. And yes, it is kind of annoying, but it's not hard, and you just pour money into upgrades and then sim up time to speed it up. And once any of them reach 4, the trophy then popped. But finally, the 4th trophy, Lucrative Alliance. Again, this is the buggy contract trophy from earlier. I had a lot of issues with this, as I said, because the guide method is just wrong, but I would eventually figure out how to get it to pop, and to do so, you need to just keep on asking for the more favorable outcome over and over, and even into the final chance that you have with, you know, counter offering them, because then they will automatically counter you back and just give you a deal, and that for some reason is better than just picking a better, easier, more successful contract earlier. This trophy has got to be bugged. It literally makes 0 sense. So that's stage 2, the My Team stage, completed with, and I then moved on to stage 3, very similar but just with the driver storyline this time. And I enjoyed this one a lot more since, you know, it's a lot more simple, as I just said. You pretty much just have to drive, and I never once interacted with much else due to me also wanting to keep a bad car so I get more XP and stats from winning races. And the main goal here was to get a 99 overall racer, and using the guide to suggest that you pick the Kick racing team, which is hideous. I can't believe this is a reality that we live in. And then choose the guy who looks like he came out of Family Guy. What the is this build? Skinwalkers fear him. But this dude has the highest rating and the worst team, so it's the fastest for 99 overall, which is the last trophy you will get in this stage. The first one I did, however, was actually called Following Orders from completing 25 dynamic objectives and races. These pop up once per race in the actual race of the weekend, and if you enable rewind at any time, you can farm them out with a cheese method of getting the challenge, then doing it and rewinding a short while after to before the lap finish, then just do that over and over and over. Every time you cross the line and get the check mark, it counts as 1 towards the 25, so I just did that and then it popped eventually right here. And during the driver career, I was also ranking up specialists as I played, doing their challenges, also within practices, races, and just life in general. There's only about 5 or 6 specialists in the game, and you need to get 4 perks total from them for a trophy, which I got right here, because it honestly isn't that hard to do that. I then earned my first accolade, which functions the same as the My Team being naturally gotten. And finally, I completed 50 races total in the game, which isn't a part of this trophy stage, but it's still a trophy regardless. I then did do the final specialist trophy of the driver career, just from reaching max relationship, being level 3 with one of them. And again, this is just raised by doing challenges. These challenges, by the way, were extremely easy, and it sometimes require you to just drive 20 kilometers, so it's not hard at all, and here it is. I then got 2 trophies very close by each other nearing the end of this stage. The first one I got was from completing a full season of driver career, and then from agreeing to a multi-year contract with a team, which is almost a guarantee after you wipe the field in the previous season, and here it is. My final trophy was then from reaching that 99 overall rating, as I said earlier, and this is raised almost solely by just winning in races and doing clean laps to help that XP bar go higher faster. And yes, I did have to do a few weekends of racing in the second season of the driver career, but it didn't really take all that much longer, and here's that trophy, which I did achieve, rating 99 overall. That then led us into the final stage of this platinum trophy called Stage 4, F1 World Online. Most of the trophies here are very easy and can be done at the same time, however, a few of them are very annoying. The only 2 that take a considerable amount of time are reaching the A license and then the 250 tech level, which was my last trophy today before the platinum. But starting off in Stage 4, this is just the standard online racing portion of the game, which is actually kind of dead, and I find that kind of funny. But the first trophy I would get was just from picking my fan zone choices. No clue what this really is or why it exists, if I'm going to be completely honest, but I did still do it and I got the trophy. I then made my way to the world events because the trophy needs us to do those, but I stopped and did a time trial 25 times, which took some time indeed. But I had to get clean laps 25 times in a time trial for the trophy, which isn't really that hard, and here it is after doing so. Now, like I said earlier, you can actually farm these out almost all at once with most of the trophies, and that's completely true. If you play invitational events in a solo lobby, they count for world events, online events, and invitational events, obviously. Doing 5 of these gets you all 3 of those trophies, and if you at least podium once, you get a trophy from getting podium in an online race. So I just did exactly that, getting the podium first, as you would expect, and here it is. But then I did do the participate in 5 world events after, then the 5 online races trophy, and finally the 5 invitational trophy popped along with those. So with those now done, I kind of unfortunately landed in the grindy portion of this stage, with the first trophy I got here from achieving 100 clean laps. And to grind out both the tech rating and A license, I I was just doing events that had over 10 laps because they are the best to grind out XP, apparently, according to the guide. But as I was saying, I did 100 clean laps, and here's that trophy from that. I then completed 25 world goals after, which are also very easy for the most part. Almost all of them just consisted of me driving clean laps, winning, setting fastest laps, and just playing races in general. And after I did complete my 25th one, the trophy popped. I also finally reached A license a bit after from just playing more of the game to get my tech level up, which, as I already said, is the longest grind of the game. But getting your license to A really isn't that hard unless you're constantly crashing into people. Then it might be a bit of a challenge because that drops the rating. But upon getting A license, I got the trophy right here. And it then took me 2 more hours of grinding to get that tech required for a rating of 250. And this is when the game unfortunately just died off for me. I didn't really find any fun in it because getting higher gear does basically nothing besides make your car slightly better. And it's just stupid how much you need to grind just to make the car a little bit faster. I don't know, I'm just not a massive F1 fan, so I don't really get the appeal of driving 18 laps on the same course for one piece of gear that is rated at 240 instead of 238. But once I did finally do it, and I mean finally, I got that rating up to 250 and the trophy popped. And so did the F1 25 Platinum Trophy added along with it. So that was the F1 Platinum Trophy experience. I don't really understand the appeal to this game, it's just kind of bland. After playing all of the Need for Speeds and now Forza on the PS5, those games are just so much more my type compared to this game, and I legitimately almost fell asleep playing this. But you know, F1 is supposed to be the realistic side of driving games, so I won't hate it for that reason. It's just boring.